Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading a multi-character reader by me. So let's get into it. Cyno. Cyno wasn't usually jealous. Not a lot could make him jealous, to be honest, but some things just got on his nerves. And for example, this thing that happened tonight, it truly was making him feel horrible. There was this waiter in the restaurant that was looking at you a little bit too weirdly. A little bit too flirty in the way he acts too. He didn't know how to explain it. He may be oblivious most of the time, but he wasn't stupid. And this wasn't the way you treat everyone in a restaurant. I mean, the waiter didn't treat him that way, did he? Not that you wanted any treatment like that. But still, the way his gaze kept lingering, the way he spoke to you with such a soft tone, trying to charm you, while he was sitting right there. In the end, Cyno thought that he had had enough, wrapping his arms around you when you ordered the waiter to come again to pay for the food. And right there and then, he kissed you, asking if you wanted anything else, while you shyly, with a red face, denied, saying that you're good. The waiter was frozen for a few moments, staring at the acts of affection that was shown by the general Mahmatara. It was certainly a surprise, and he was stunned, which is honestly the reaction that Cyno wanted to see. He was grateful that this worked, and now he can get out of here, with you in his arms, not distracted by this waiter. Albedo. Albedo is usually very nice and kind, which is why no one really had an idea for how he would be like if you got jealous. I mean, kind, gentle Albedo getting mad? It was difficult to imagine for most, even you, who knew him so closely. So, when it was actually real, and it happened, it was a surprise for most, especially you yourself, because the way he was glaring, it was normal. Seeing him glare like that, with a bit of anger that was barely concealed for his eyes, it was different, and kind of a little bit scary, if you were the one on the receiving end. Thankfully you weren't, but you wanted them to calm down. But it seemed like no amount of kisses you gave him would be enough, because this guy keeps looking at you, tracing every part of your body with his eyes. And Albedo hated it. He loathed it. And he was honestly this close to hitting him in the face. Thankfully, though, he did manage to get out with you quite soon enough that he didn't act out. He wanted some space and all. But when he told you that he wanted to go away and go on a little walk on his own, you shook your head, taking his head in yours and kissing him softly, telling him that there's no reason he should have to hide his jealousy and his own emotions, and that you were okay with them too. Which, to be honest, was a great reassurance for him, because he was so worried that you wouldn't like the show of jealousy that he had, and he tried so badly to get away from everyone before he started to act out. But now that you assured him, he was more than glad that you were there by his side, even if he was a little embarrassed that you noticed so easily. Child! Child was extremely jealous. Like, easily so. Someone could look at you, and he would be just not very pleased with that. But he would take it, like a champ. But more than that, oh, that would get him in action, alright? So if someone tries to touch you while he's around, it's more than pretty obvious that you will act out. He will go over to them, shove them away, and ask them just what in the hell they thought they were doing with you around. And of course, seeing as he was child, a Fatui harbinger that was seared across the nations, they would try everything in their might to explain. But nothing would be satisfactory for him. Except maybe getting a kiss from you as they wrapped an arm around you, giving them a huff as they busied themselves with kissing you instead, telling you that you're beautiful and that you'll forgive them just for you, which is honestly the truth, because otherwise, he would have been really mad and upset with them. And then he might have had to resort to violence, which is not really a good option, right? No one loves silence. Maybe Child does, but not everyone else. And thankfully, he was slowly getting used to that. Through you, of course. They were helping a great deal, and he was more than grateful for it. Scaramouche. Oh, actually, I don't think he'd be very nice. Because if someone even looks at you in a way he doesn't like, he will take action. It's not even as much as that. If someone breathes the wrong way towards you, then that would be enough for him. He wasn't really a patient person. To be honest, he wasn't a real person, but we're not gonna talk about that. The thing is, Scara was just so protective. And so, how do I say this without sounding mean? He's a little bit insecure. He's not sure if you really like him or if you really want to stay with him. So anything that threatens your relationship feels personal to him. Even though it could be something that's so painfully minor, he will take it seriously. Which is why you're pretty careful on how you treat things, especially with the way he is at first. If you're wearing something tight, God forbid someone looks at you. Because immediately, he was going to be shooting them a look that would kill anyone in their place. And honestly, you'd be feeling very bad. Because you know they're not looking at you in that way, but it's not like Scaramouche was patient enough to understand. Although, you're quite glad that it was easy to calm him down. All it would take, most of the time, when it wasn't something much, is just your arms wrapped around him and a kiss. That's enough to shut him up and let him breathe. But if someone, say, touches you or anything of that kind, then no one in the world could stop him. Because no one, and he means it, no one should get to touch you besides him. And if anyone dares to even try, then they were going to pay for that. Very painfully.